let's talk about the real events that reshape U.S. China relations and the global balance of power. You may have heard bits and pieces, but I'll connect the dots for you so you can see their full significance. So let's break them down one by one. By now, you've already heard about this company. It's called the Prince Holding Group. The United States, working with the United Kingdom Intelligence Agency, has indicted the owner of this company, or the founder of this company. So on October 14th, federal prosecutors in New York unsealed charges against its founder, Chen Zhi, who's originally from China. Now, according to the indictment, Prince Holding isn't just a business empire. It's one of Asia's largest underground crime networks, running dozens of companies across more than 30 countries. And this man, Chen Zhi, is only 37 years old. He holds both British and Cambodian citizenship. The company's influence in Cambodia is huge, and it's often glorified by Chinese state media. So a former Chinese intelligence officer known as Eric says Prince Holding works directly with China's security apparatus, basically acting as Beijing's agent in Southeast Asia. And Eric claims the company handles funding, manpower, and logistics for Chinese covert operations. He calls it a financial base for the CCP's spy network globally. The company poured money into local elections and ran businesses from real estate to finance to tourism, even keeping its own hacker team. And most of these operations weren't about profit. They were about washing dirty money under Beijing's protection. So who exactly is this man, Chen Zhi? According to a Chinese-Canadian dissident by the name of Sheng Xue, this man is the nephew of Guangdong Party Secretary Huang Kunming, and he managed the wealth of Xi Jinping's sister, Qi Qiaoqiao. And also, he handles the money for the Xi Jinping's Fujian faction. So the Trump administration must know this. The U.S. crackdown was massive. Officials seized 127,271 bitcoins, worth roughly $15 billion US dollars. And the U.S. government also froze his 19 London properties and sanctioned 147 individuals and entities linked to this group. So Ms. Shen estimates that Qi Qiaoqiao, the first sister, may have lost a quarter of her assets overnight due to this indictment. So this isn't just about shutting down CCP's crime ring overseas. It's a direct hit on the Xi family's offshore wealth network. Let's talk about event number 2. This is about Japan's new prime minister. Its first female prime minister, Sanae Takaichi, whose rise has become Beijing's worst nightmare. Now, not long after she became the leader of the Liberal Democratic Party, LDP, the CCP tried to block her rise. LDP's coalition partner of 26 years, the Komeito Party, suddenly quit just 10 days after China's ambassador secretly met with the leader of the Komeito Party. Now, Beijing's influence game backfired spectacularly. Within 10 days, Takaichi secured outside support from Japan's Innovation Party and won independence and stabilized her coalition. The result? Beijing's Tokyo blockade collapsed. The move exposed China's political interference. It damaged Komeito's reputation and sent the new prime minister's popularity soaring past 55% on her first day. Japan's stock market jumped on that day. So her victory is a major win for Washington and a serious blow to Beijing's influence strategy. And that's why Xi Jinping didn't send her a single word of congratulations. And it's very odd. It's something he routinely did for previous Japanese prime ministers. You know, while the CCP was having its fourth plenum, an anti-CCP hacker group called Anonymous 64, you know the number 64 references June 4th, the date of the 1989 Tiananmen massacre. So this group, Anonymous 64, launched 4 coordinated cyber attacks against the Chinese government. So they hit everything: government websites, police systems, defense and aerospace firms, propaganda outlets, and even top universities. Their goal, to expose what they called the 15th five-year plan scam. So on October 22nd, they announced that they've hacked 4 CCP websites and intercepted high-level talks. The biggest target was China Council for the Promotion of International Trade. Its homepage replaced with an image showing CCP officials feasting while slaves suffered under table. And the banner reads, "No slavery, we want freedom. No lies, we want truth." And then the top banner says, "Without the Communist Party, there would be a new China." And dozens of other websites were also hit, from local party portals to propaganda outlets like China International News Network, all replaced with the same image and articles blasting the regime. And later waves went deeper, targeting military suppliers tied to aerospace, energy, and chip R&D. The fourth and the final wave hit universities like the Fudan University in Shanghai, calling on students to open your eyes and refuse to be puppets. It looks like an information war aimed at breaking the Great Firewall of China has started, and with the purpose of getting the truth out to the Chinese people. I think this is tremendous. All right, the next one took place in Europe. So finally, Europe's turn in the U.S. China tech war. And the battleground isn't in Taiwan, it's in Netherlands. And everyone knows ASML or ASML, the Dutch chip giant, but this one, the crisis centers on this company, Nexperia, which is a semiconductor firm fully owned by a Chinese tech company called Wingtech. So Nexperia used to be part of a company called NXP Semiconductors, which was a Dutch company. They sold its arm in 2016 for $2.75 billion to 2 Chinese private equity firms. And then 2 years later, Wingtech, backed by Chinese state funds, took control and eventually full ownership of Dutch, or formerly Dutch chip company. Okay, so soon after that, most of Nexperia's production moved to China. By now, about 80% of its output comes from Chinese factories. And later in September 2025, the Dutch intelligence found evidence that Nexperia, or the company's core technology, has been quietly transferred to China. So then what happened was unprecedented. The Dutch government invoked a Cold War era law to protect national interests. It suspended Wingtech's chairman from all Nexperia's roles and appointing an independent trustee. In other words, a forced takeover of the Chinese-owned company to keep control of the technology. So, but here's where it gets wild, or it got wild. Nexperia's China branch rebelled. On October 17th, management there told staff to ignore orders from the Dutch headquarters and operate independently. Beijing then banned all chip exports from Nexperia China, forcing the company to trade only inside China and settle everything in renminbi. And that created a major supply shock. Nexperia's chips, though not cutting edge, are essentials for cars. So German companies like Volkswagen and Bosch and others warned production could grind to a halt due to this Chinese rebellion or suspension of Chinese export of its product. So the fallout awoke Europe. Right? After years of chasing cheap manufacturing, Europe suddenly realized it had become a hostage of China's supply chains. Okay, next, moving on. A silent uprising inside China. So on October 25th, right after the CCP's 10th Fourth Plenum ended, 2 anti-CCP banners suddenly appeared on a busy street in Beijing's Sanlitun district. This is one of the city's most famous shopping areas. So the 2 banners read, The Communist Party is an anti-human, anti-humanity cult. It will bring endless disaster to China. And then it says, lift the party ban, allow free party formation, free competition, and free choice. Build a new China of freedom, humanity, and the rule of law. So the photos show someone holding a loudspeaker talking to passersby. Nobody knows who that person is or where he is now. This wasn't just an isolated act. Throughout the summer and early fall, anti-CCP banners and slogans have quietly appeared across different Chinese cities, a pattern that's beginning to look like small sparks of resistance breaking through the silence. On October the 9th, the Chinese government launched a massive nationwide crackdown on underground churches, targeting one of China's largest house churches, the Beijing Xi'an Church, which was founded in 2007 by a Korean Chinese, by Pastor Ezra Jin, an ethnic Korean from Northeast China. So Xi'an Church became one of the most influential unregistered congregations in China before authorities shut it down. I think they shut it down in 2018. So now the Pastor Jin and his community are once again under attack. So far, more than 30 people have been arrested, including pastors, preachers, and regular church members. Some are detained, some have disappeared. The meeting sites have been sealed, and all church funds confiscated. Is labeled an illegal organization. And the wave of arrests isn't just in Beijing, it's hitting Shanghai, Zhejiang, Shandong, Guangdong, Hainan, and Guangxi. So it's a coordinated nationwide operation. So this kind of grassroots independent faith organizations is growing beyond state control. And that's exactly what the CCP fears the most. It's not alone. This is only one of the many religious groups that are being persecuted in China. For example, the largest religious group that's being persecuted in China is the Falun Gong. They've been persecuted for 26 years. The government estimated that about 100 million people were practicing Falun Gong before the crackdown. And that number exceeded the 60 million Chinese Communist Party members at the time. So, in China, nothing is allowed to be bigger than the party itself. So hence, Jiang Zemin started the persecution, but Xi Jinping made it global. It was during Xi Jinping's time that he made the persecution of Falun Gong cross the border. CCP affiliates in the West are now attacking Falun Gong and Falun Gong organizations. Do you know that from March 2024 to June 2025, which is only about a year and about 15 months, there were 154 anonymous bomb threats targeting Falun Gong organizations and the Shenyun Performing Arts Troupe, which is the performing arts group that tour around the world. You have seen their colorful posters. So targeting Falun Gong and Shenyun Performing Arts, and also U.S. lawmakers and individuals and organizations that support Falun Gong. If you line up all of these stories, the U.S. indictment of a Xi family-controlled state security affiliated crime ring, Japan's new prime minister, who is a diehard supporter of Taiwan and a strong U.S. ally, the anonymous 64 cyber war that lasted days and in 4 waves, and the tech showdown in the Netherlands that woke up Europe, and then this quiet rebellion in Beijing and the religious revolution inside China. You can really see the bigger picture.